Hello, I'm Rowan Ambrose, and today I'm going to show you that even if you're a haphazard and neglectful gardener, you can still be successful. So I've got some pots of bulbs and plants to show you today, where I have been very haphazard and very neglectful because we moved house last year 450 miles and lots of our plants didn't get the care that they should have done. So first off, I'm going to show you a bowl of crocuses. Now this is far too small a pot for 25 crocus bulbs, but I'd run out of pots. I either had massive ones or tiny ones, and so I wedged them all in here. And as you can see, they've got beautiful fresh green foliage coming up and the tiny pips of little flowers. So although they are squashed in there, they are doing absolutely fine. This is a really spectacular disaster. This is a winter flowering honeysuckle, and you can see the tiny golden yellow flowers which are filling this little gazebo with the most gorgeous honeyed lemony scent. It's a superb plant for a tiny garden, but if I hold it up so you can see it here, the root is growing out of the bottom, so this desperately needs repotting. But it's doing fine. It's flowering and it's got bright green, fresh new growth, and so it's doing okay. So even though it is squashed into this really small pot, it's thriving. It's doing okay. So this is top of my list to repot, but for now it's doing much better than I would have expected. The next one is back to bulbs now. These were, this was a handful of bulbs that I found just loose on the ground when the removal people had gone, and they were just tucked in by the fence. So I picked them up, shoved them in a pot, and threw one handful of just normal garden soil and just left them there. Took them in my car when we moved, and then when we arrived here just chucked another handful of compost on top, and that was back in August. And now you can see that it's got, this is Chionodoxa, which is sometimes called Glory of the Snow. You can get white versions of these and icy blue. This one is a really soft rosy pink, and you can see here the tiny little pink buds just forming. So it's really not suffered at all with just that very casual throwing the dry bulbs in a pot, one handful of soil, another handful of compost, and it's flowering fine. Well, will be. Those are just the little buds. And the last one I've got to show you today is how often plants, if you leave them to their own devices, will propagate themselves. So that means they will generate more baby plants, which you can pot up, and then you've got more plants for your garden, or you could give them to a friend. So this is a pot with a geranium in, a hardy geranium, so this is fine in the winter outside. It doesn't need to be brought inside, and this whole thing needs to be repotted. But you can see here these tiny little green leaves are strawberry leaves. So we had a strawberry plant in the old house that was dangling what they call runners, just baby plants over the side of the strawberry, and it ended up with a bit like a spider plant. So it ended up just dangling into this pot, started developing a root system. So now there is one pot with geranium growing and 3 strawberry plants. So all you need to do here is to ease out this little bundle of strawberry leaves and then pop it in its own container with fresh compost, and then you have your own strawberry plant. So you could give that to a friend, or you could just keep adding to your strawberry stocks. So that's just a few examples of how, even if with a gigantic house move and very little care and attention, these plants are still doing fine. So if you don't have hours to spend on your garden, if you don't have loads of money to spend on your garden, if you don't really know what you're doing with gardening, it's still possible to be successful. You just need to choose the right plants, and that's something I can help you with.